Lord, I feel like going home. I tried and I failed. I'm tired and I'm weary. Everything I done was wrong, and I feel like going home. Lord, I tried.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I like that one. That's the name of the album. Feel like going home.
Makes sense, man. Makes sense. I mean, that kind of ties in with this whole studio where we recorded it. It's one of the most special things about this record, I think, is that it's recorded at Sam Phillips Recording Service, and that is the room where, you know, Charlie Rich himself recorded. Exactly. And I think I got to tip my hat to Michael Pinalla too, because I mean, he really did a great job of pulling it all together, and he did a great job.
As much as it was a labor of love for us, it was just as much so for him, and maybe even more so for him, because he's a musician. I mean, he actually became a Charlie Rich fan because of Peter Grzelnick's book.
But when I had read Peter's books, they left a serious impact on me, both his writing and his passion for Charlie. And it led me to go out and search for every LP, 45, anything I could find on the man. And I became totally enamored with his singing, his playing, his songwriting.
And this whole process came up when Charlie died in 1995. Knox and I were talking about how he was probably the least recognized of the Sun stars. He didn't have as big a hits that he was on Sun, but he was probably the most talented of all of them. Uncle Sam said that he was the most talented person he had ever worked with, period.
And this is the first, since you bought it, right? This is the first record on Memphis International Records made from scratch,
right?
Correct?
Yes, and when I bought the label, I knew we had a great catalog. We had all kinds of different genres, but we knew that even though we had a nice catalog, that we had to keep it going and kind of rejuvenate the label. And when my dad approached me about it, it just made sense. I mean,
and the whole thing just kind of fell together in a way that makes perfect
exactly
sense. And that's,
you know,
it's always great when it happens like that.
And it actually turned out well because we were able to call some friends. You know, we've got like Shooter Jennings is on it, Susan Marshall, Keith Sykes, Preston Shannon, Jim Lauderdale, Will Kimbrough. I mean, it's just really going to be, it's a collaborative album. All these people are huge fans of Charlie's. We had a discussion between Jeff and Mike and myself that we sort of wanted to stay as true as we could to the music, to the original tracks.
Charlie Rich is definitely one of those people. He could take anybody's song and make it sound like something that he had written. What I wanted to do with this album was to take that influence that I felt with Charlie and the way that he could interpret anybody's songs and make it his own. It would be very egotistical to say that we made them our own because they're his songs. His performances are definitely definitive.
All these tracks but one were written basically in this studio, or maybe met at the old Sun studio. Is the title track, Feel Like Going Home. That was such an iconic song for him, for me, because I think it's an extremely personal song, and I felt like we had to put it in. And Jeff goes, you know, basically that probably needs to be the name of the album, you know, because that's sort of what we're all doing. We feel like we're going home.
Our first new release on the label wasn't one artist. We got to work with 12 to 13 different artists, plus different musicians, background vocalists, and a lot of different artists, and it was fun to see how they brought their own rendition to it, try to give it respect.
What I wanted to do was to make an album that captured the spirit of what he played and wrote in Memphis, and the spirit of Memphis, and the spirit of that time, and the sound of that time that would translate to the sound of today. I think we captured it. I think we made an album that encapsulates what Charlie was about, but made it as close to being our own stuff as possible.
It sounds great, and I think it's going to be a great album.
Me too.
I want to thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Proud to be a part of it. Believe me, I had
And
a
then,
blast.
and we did it at Sam C. Phillips Recording Service. It's a blatant plug, but that's the truth. Wouldn't do it anywhere else.
Everything I done was wrong, and I feel like going home. Lord, I tried to see it through,